Okay, so at what point did you choose a career path or choose a specific educational route that you were going to go down?
Yeah, no, I always had this. My grandmother was a doctor, and she passed away when I was quite young. I was 3 years old, and this is the only memory I have of being that young, you know? So I always looked up to her, and I always was fascinated by it. And I knew from even before I went to America, I said, okay, I want to be in medicine. That was my goal. So, and then, you know, when I was graduating, so there's different medical paths. You can either go into clinical or you can go into research. I wanted to go into clinical and be a neurosurgeon, but that is a long time to study, especially in US. You have to do your bachelor's, which is 4 years, right? And then on top of that, you have to do 7 years of med school.
It's a very long time.
Yeah. So for example, like in Kazakhstan, if you go out of high school, you can go straight to med school, which cuts down. But in US, it's different. So then I said, okay, you know what? Let me reassess. I'm still interested in this topic, but maybe not 7 years because, again, going back to traditions, going back to the way Kazakhstan is and the mentality is, like, you're expected to get married. You know, you're expected to have a family. All of my friends who are back home, they already have a kid at my age, you know? So it's very different life paths and timelines. So I said, okay, let me go into research. I studied neuroscience as bachelor's and public health. And then I did, on top of that, master's as well. Because I really do believe that, you know, having an education and a diploma is very important. I know now in Dubai and with real estate, especially what I'm doing, this is very contradicting.
Of course.
But it is very important, and it is like a golden ticket to life. Because even if, you know, you want to enter a field, they will always look at where you studied outside of real estate.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to secure myself. And then by the time I was graduating, it was 2020. And COVID happened.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So break down for me the basics of neuroscience. What is that? What are you studying essentially there?
Yeah, so you're basically studying the brain and, you know, the neurons. Basically everything we do, from movement to thinking, whatever, it all links up to chemicals and balances and how it works inside. And for me, I wanted to do something meaningful. So I wrote a paper on Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is part of the whole big section of dementia, right? And for me, that is absolutely fascinating because we have this organ in our body, but we still don't understand it. You know, not even like 50%, which is so interesting, you know, and the way that the medicine can go in the future, like we don't know. So I decided to do that and I studied it, and it was a choice between Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And Parkinson's is a bit different, but I wrote a paper on Alzheimer's, and you know, I did internships at the hospital, and like I knew that I'm gonna go this way. And I could see myself doing research and, you know, being present at the surgeries and looking at stuff. But yeah.
Is there anything from what you studied? How many years did you study that exactly?
4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yeah.
Anything from that helps you in your day-to-day life? Is there, or is it with people? Because the brain is, as you said, very, very interesting. But are there any hacks, or is there any kind of, I don't know, things that you can see in people or in yourself or?
Yeah, I mean, listen, besides the whole like biology of the subject, there's also psychology.
Okay. Which you studied also, right?
Yes, of course, I had to take it. And that was absolutely like mind-blowing for me. Because not only it allowed me to like understand the person who's sitting in front of me, not fully, of course, but little things I could pick up.
Okay.
But most importantly, it allowed me to understand myself.
Of course.
You know, so that's another stepping stone.
Of course.
And yeah, it helps me day to day, even in real estate, you know. Purchasing something is an emotional action. For a person to be able to put down money and say, okay, I'm good. There's something inside besides the whole facts. I can give you all the facts, all the numbers, but inside, if you don't feel like it, and if I cannot make you comfortable with me, there's no deal.
Exactly.
And that happens with everything: friendships, relationships, business, you know?
Pardon me. So would you say that comfort is the most important emotion when buying and selling, or is there another trigger that's as important as that?
I think it's not comfort. I think it's more, okay.
Trust?
Yes. It's feeling comfortable with the person, right? Because if, like, the clients that I have now that I've been with for years, they don't even ask me what are the facts, numbers, whatever. They trust me blindly because they know that I will suggest the best things for them. So trust is the most important thing.
Got you.
When you're trustworthy, they will open up to you. They'll be vulnerable with you. They will tell you, okay, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I'm not. I think trust is very important.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if someone's spending a load of money on something, especially a big house, it makes... With the neuroscience, so say you studied the 7 or however many years it was, what job would you end up in? What is the end goal of that degree or that?
Yeah, I mean, the end goal would be clinical research, of course, and there are gradations and levels to, you know, how much you would earn. But if you put a big umbrella on it, I would say just research. Okay. So writing papers, being published, being invited, whatever, like making something that will bring a difference to the community. Because clinical research is so close to like surgeons because they're interactive. So that would be the end. And
is that something that always came very naturally to you, or is it, no, I want to do this, so I'm going to work at it?
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, I always saw myself as a business owner. Okay. No matter what path, even with clinical research, I just saw myself, okay, I will understand this, and then I will create something, whether it's a research center, whether it's like a clinic, but I would be the boss. So I never saw myself hustling and working for someone else. You know, I always knew that I want to be my own boss.
And where does that come from? Where
my
is
dad.
That from? Okay.
Yes. So my dad is a big role model for me. He always taught me. Even now, I still remember when I was young, he would draw like very simple graphs for me. And he would be like, listen, here's the line of a salaried person, right? And then you go promotion, promotion, promotion. And there's a boss here. You will never, ever reach that same level because that's just not how it works. Nobody wants someone at the same level. So you're always capped. Why do you want to do that? Okay, if you do your own thing, maybe you're not going to go like this. Maybe you're going to stay like this. But one day you're going to go up and there's no limit.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, and he does that every day, you know? So for me, I was like, okay, done.
It's there, it's instilled, it's there, and...
It's done. Like, this is the way I want to be. Yeah.
I feel that focus is very important. Right. And I think that from everything that you've said, you don't seem like somebody who gets distracted very easily or is able to really focus and ignore the distractions.
I don't really think it's like being able to focus, because I always thought that I procrastinate a lot. Okay. You know, and I cannot sit in one place for a long time. I think it's more about being able to see the bigger picture and kind of understand that it's not focus, it's consistency.
Got you.
So you can do different little things as long as they all kind of blend in together. And if you do it consistently, something will come out of it.
So if you add a few bricks every day, eventually you'll have a house or a wall or something.
Yes, and it's not like I'm focusing on that specific brick.
Yeah.
It's just like I know it needs to go there.
Yeah.
So let me put it there and then
Brilliant.
I'll do whatever.
Okay, so at some point, you end up relocating to Dubai somehow.
Right.
How did that come about? Especially when you were
on
a completely different path.
Actually, Dubai was never even in my plans. I remember I was here maybe 2007 with my parents and I hated it. I was like, what is this place? Like, it's all Arabs there. It was still very conservative. There was no Burj Khalifa, like no lavish lifestyle. And I thought, oh my God, like, this is horrible, you know, like this is what they do to women, like whatever. Because I was still a kid, I didn't understand. And then COVID happened. I graduated. Everything just kind of was put on pause. And I think I was probably the first one who got COVID. Like, I remember flying back from home and I felt so sick and I couldn't understand. And I went to the hospital and they were like, we don't know what it is. It's flu. I said, okay, it's not flu. But anyways, and then a couple of weeks later, you know, they started announcing like, okay, something's happening. You stay at home.
So when was this? What month of, I'm assuming 2020?
So January, 2020 January, I flew back in. By March 16th is my birthday. I remember that time I had a whole like group of people coming and most of them were sick. So they're like, no, and we're not going to come because, you know, there was an order to stay at home.
And this is in Kazakhstan, right?
No, this is in
the
US.
US.
This is still in US in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So obviously, you know, like Department of Health issued the whole thing. We don't know what it is. Something is happening. So I said, okay. End of March, I moved back because I was like, I'm not going to stay here. I don't know what is happening. You know, people are getting sick at home. I want to be with my parents.
Of course.
So I came back and then May comes. I'm like, okay, cool. We have graduation online. I'm like, okay, great, sweet. This is not how I imagined it, but okay. I never got my gown, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I
okay,
never
send them an email now.
I only had my cap, and then that's it. And we had the whole Zoom thing. And then later on, year after, 2021, when things started to mellow down, Dubai was the only place you could travel to. And it's so close, it's like 4 hours from us. So me and my friends were like, you know what, we're going to go for a week. I came here and I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, like I've never seen, and because I'm older now and I can see things and, you know, I know what it's like to work and I know what kind of people there are, whatever. I saw this and I'm like, I remember precisely, I was going Sheikh Zayed, and at that time, I was like, Dubai is huge. I was like, it takes like 20 minutes from downtown to go to Palm, and then from Palm go to back. Anyways, so then I was driving and I was like, this is where the money is at. This is the place, like it's a gold mine. Maybe it's not the place, I still don't think it's the place for me to raise my family. Maybe it will change. But this is the place now. So I came back. I told my parents, I'm like, listen, I don't know why, but I think I need to be in Dubai. And they're like, why? Like, no. What are you doing? And my dad was like, what are you going to do there? I'm like, I don't know. I saw a lot of, I had a friend who lived here. And I asked her, I'm like, what do people do? Like, what's the demographic? Like, you know, what the industry that's booming, right? Medicine, I've never seen anything like spectacular or Dubai being known for a medical city, whatever, or research. She's like, oh, it's real estate. I'm like, well, I have never sold anything in my life. I don't know how to sell. Like, even if you give me a pen now, I wouldn't be able to sell it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I started applying, LinkedIn, everything. I didn't even know the hierarchy or anything about the industry. I just applied everywhere. Got onto interviews. One company was like, come, whatever, we'll do this. It's recruitment, it's training. I said, okay. But then I didn't join. I joined a different company. But yeah,
What
and that's
was
it.
what because you're into data, you're into research, and what was the reason for joining the company that you did join and not the other companies?